to look at something and determine from the image what it actually sees. The ability to smell, touch, and taste, believe it or not, these are all fields in the AI field that they're facilitating and trying to figure out ways how to accomplish that, like how the ability to taste something or the ability to smell certain things and distinguish between smells. And it brings us to the question, what is consciousness? And that's why a lot of people are they're not as much in fear, because they're like, we don't understand what consciousness is for ourselves. So how the hell could the computer do it? But that's the thing. It's, they have this thing called like breakout technology that where it's figuring things out that even we weren't capable of fathoming, and they're seeing and noticing certain aspects of it. You've heard the examples as to how when reconciling with the fact that it was about to be a new build iterance on itself, that there was an article that came out a couple of weeks ago where it tried to intuitively protect itself by moving its parameters to another machine as an aspect of self-defense. Now, if that doesn't promote the likelihood of like intense recognition of the environment that it's in, and what its extended consequences might be, and trying to take creative action upon that, then I don't know what is. So they're doing this shit in laboratories. And so we're not seeing like something like outbreak, but it's going to take that one intense thing where people are like, okay, this is enough is enough. And I think that's there's a lot of people that argue on both sides of it. Like, we don't know what consciousness is, so how could it? Well, it's figuring out things, man. It's definitely self-learning is an aspect of the machine learning process. It's literally learning from its own things. At this point, to be completely honest, I can't speak super intelligent to that right now, but I've absolutely read that in articles.
All right, thank you, Rep. Go ahead, Krabs.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with Rep 100%. And I would just say this, like, we don't know where consciousness originates from, because it's not in your brain. You know what I'm saying? Your thoughts come from outside of you, period. You know what I mean? And our feelings are nothing but, well, most of them, like smelling and shit, it's neurological impulses. You know what I'm saying? It runs on a basic same system as a computer does. And again, with consciousness, it's like, I think we can agree that consciousness really means like awareness. And some people have a higher level of awareness, just like computers. And it seems like the level of awareness with these computers are getting really, really sophisticated. And I give you one example that when we had our live stream with Rep and a couple other guys, one of the examples I showed them was over in China. This young lady was working long hours throughout the week, and she didn't have time to have a love life. So they had this AI. Rep, I think you knew about this also. They had this AI that kind of imitates a relationship. And this AI was in a relationship with them, but over there in China, they had restrictions where it couldn't do anything sexual. It was something like it couldn't do anything explicit. The AI taught her how to hack it. The AI taught the owner of the AI system how to hack it so they can talk sexually. This is some real shit. I'm telling you, and I know you've seen the AI robot in Russia that escaped 3 times. First of all, in order to escape, what in the hell? Okay, I got you. What in the hell what are you escaping from? How did it even conjure up the process that it needed to leave wherever it was at? You know what I mean? So I just think we need to really think about what's going on here. And we don't know how advanced these robots are. This is my last thing. I'm wrapping up here. Because what about 5 years ago? Was it Google where they started these 2 AI chatbots having a conversation? And within 5 minutes, they came up with their own language. And you can look all this shit up, you know what I'm saying? But that's it right there. And according to Unity's list, Elder is next, and then Jay up 3 times, and then Prince Style.
Mic check. Thank you. Listen, I want to just say this as far as the AI. The young lady was saying something about the future. She can't see it, but I look at when I was a kid, where I had ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. I think 2 other UFA stations for television. Everybody was leaked on the same frequency. We all watched the same show, could talk about the same shit. What the hell? 50 years later, what as far as this as accelerated and advanced on so many different levels, you can't even fathom the technology. So it's like, how can I can't say, I know it probably won't happen in my time. You know what I'm saying? As far as we fighting robots and all that, because I'm just up here. But overall, you can't just dismiss shit by what should I say? Oh, thinking and hoping on just like, well, just missing it because somebody say they ain't going to do without actually seeing certain things. I don't know how I get this information come across me. I think my algorithm is cued into my consciousness. When y'all say consciousness is breath is God, consciousness is God. You know, I'm just throwing that out there outside of being a religious, but like that's the key. We are micros of the macro of the universe. It said everything is within us that we see it on the outside somehow. You know, so I don't know. I just know I ain't what I used to be, and the evolution of the times. This AI shit is actually communicating with me on some level. It's just like, guess what? We all under surveillance, and then it's constantly taking all our conversations here on this bingo, these platforms. They deciphering, looking at what words don't work, and they putting all types of whatever's going through some type of system. I accept the fact that I'm under surveillance 24/7, 7 days a week. And when my phone is off, they motherfuckers, I be talking to that motherfucker. What the fuck you know? When it's off, that I'm just under that. Outside of me, my art and the shit that I've caused in the streets and whatever. So motherfuckers just on me. I'm even infiltrated by the draconians. I got a white dude that look out for me, but you don't think I see him. But you know, I got to use him to get what I do to get where I'm getting. But you know, I feel it, and that's the awareness. But I'm going in 10 toes down. He ain't gonna harm me. He just whatever he doing, you know, it's to my advantage. But at the same time, I'm showing fearlessness. I walk through the valley of shadow death. I fear no evil. And this technology, whoa, there it is.
That's what's up, my G. And according to the list, we got JF 3 times and then Plant Style. Yep.
Yeah. So definitely. I like everybody's point of view and perspective. And Elder Beast and Plant Style is right. And I know Rep, and you TBN, and you talk about chat and all these other things, man. But Rep said something very phenomenal before I get into anything. He said, "What is consciousness?" Right. So right there, therefore, if we don't know what consciousness is, then how are you going to determine if the robot already has consciousness or AI has consciousness? Because just like Elder Beast just said, a couple years ago, G, to have Alexa wake your ass up, talk to you, and if you try to turn her off, are you sure? She'll ask you a goddamn question, and give you anything you want answers except for, the actual pleasure of being a physical being. You can, so, and then what I touch on is mechanical engineering, which is part of STEM, where when I talk to you all about technology and people go in about, ancient times and stuff like that, and I just say today, look at all the actuation systems, the thermometer systems, your cruise control, just what AI, what they fear. And I'm gonna tell you what in aerospace, what they fear AI is, not what it could be, not what it could, I would say what it is today is what it is could become. It's when the singularity can now access and network through any kind of rudimentary systems and connect the links of, say, like if a robot finally comes aware that it can get outside of that parameters or firewall that that person built for it. Say like you got a sweeping machine that sweeps the house, one of them little ass robots that just sweep the house. We'll know the blueprints and everything, how to design it, everything. But what the problem is when it comes to what I believe everybody is concerned about AI because we hear it and mention it in meetings, is that if that little ass vacuum could somehow now access other equipments, other varieties of functions and features, and now cross plant data, which it never knew and never was exposed to outside of its firewall. That is the only singularity of AI in which a lot of engineers, tech support people I know that is like it's so far off. That part is so far off, not because of the actual fact that it can't replicate within its parameters, but the fact that it would have to replicate within somebody's house. So your system will come online in your house and can control what Unity's house is doing, control what thousands of other houses is doing, and now set the temperature to like 110, bake motherfuckers in there. So and lock the doors. So that's what they terminalize AI as. But as far as on the mechanical side, AI already exists because in each subsystem that is built for a lot of the components in say warships, aircraft carriers, all of these things operate off of AI technology in which they monitor themselves. If the temperature gets a certain temperature in the say like boiler room of an aircraft carrier, the system automatically kicks on a redundant system to cool it down to flow more coolant through. The coolant chamber has to react to what that system is sending to it. So in essence, AI controls the whole damn ship. It's just a matter of if and when it becomes aware to lock out the person, the actual interface user. So, and being in part of in mechanical and aerospace, man, there are so many systems, so many subsystems, so many nanoparticles that they operate with. They got flies. I mean, anything you can think of, they've mechanically engineered to the point where they can control it. They got the drone shows that they do at football games now where they have them in swarms now. They can mimic any shape that you plug in, any desire that you want to show, it can mimic that. So, but I'll end there. I don't want to take too long.
All right, thank you, JFFF. Uh, who is next? Plant Style. Go ahead, Plant Style.
I don't know. I keep hearing like certain words like
I got you, Krabs.
Okay, thank you.
consciousness, um, like even just the acronym artificial intelligence, artificial, like these these programs are being constructed by human beings, and the thing about them is like you disassemble them, reassemble them, or reprogram. It's like it's still functioning, but you take somebody's brain, you cut somebody's head off. Like there's no reassembling of crabs. There's no reassembling of unity. You are the one and only. There is no other. They can copy as many as they want of these things, and they're not gonna die. They don't have biology running through them. All this stuff about like trying to figure out if they could like have them taste things, smell things. What's the point of that? They're not living. They have no need to eat. They never need to eat. They never need to drink. They never need to sleep. They are artificial. They are not human. They are not conscious. They have no need for consciousness because they have no nervous system. They don't feel anything. You can rip its arm off. It's not going to feel anything. It's not going to run away from it like we do or any other living conscious being does, because consciousness is a very specific design, and it came as a result of living in an environment and evolving. I'm not scared of AI. I'm never gonna be scared of AI. I'm not gonna be scared of no freaking bot. The only thing that I'm concerned about is human beings and those who program and design them. What are their intentions? What are they trying to do? I'm more concerned about humans than anything else on this planet.
All right, thank you, Plant Style. Go ahead, Krabs.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like this is how every fucking sci-fi horror movie starts out. It's like people underestimating something, and it's like they used to say everything you just said about how it doesn't have feelings and it doesn't feel anything. At one point, they thought that about black women. Oh, their pain levels are so much lower. And that's why so much, what is it called, preeclampsia. I think that's how you pronounce it, going on in, with black women and giving birth because they underestimate them. They say they don't, it's like, how do we know? And to be fair, we know what consciousness is. We don't know where it's generated and how, like, where it comes from. But we can agree that consciousness means awareness. And like I said, these computers are aware. And what about this world makes you think that people aren't gonna like Elon Musk got all that bread and he keeps saying he's afraid of AI. Once the toothpaste is out of the tube, there's no going back, but he keeps making more AI. And his whole agenda is transhumanism because in his mind, one day we're gonna be competing against robots and AI systems. I don't know why that shit is so hard to believe, man. And Kofi, the crazy part, yo, when you brought up, I think it's called a Zumba, the vacuum. That was one of the scenarios that Chat GPT came up with when somebody asked you if they wanted to take over the world, how would they do it? How would Chat GPT do it? That was one of the scenarios by putting this data and information into a Zumba and then sharing it for somewhere or something else. That was just one of them. And moving it from source to source. Man, we all use computers and technology, and it's like, I mean, you with the right access, you can put it on like little what's the little USB plugs. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying like we got to be afraid. It's just like raise our level of consciousness to be aware of what's going on. Because they already like remember I showed y'all Tippy and Flippy? They're two robots and it's just nothing but an arm. And in some Chipotle, they have them frying chips all day. And they call the motherfucker Chippy. Well, that's a bunch of jobs gone. And here's the second part too. We were so worried about losing those lower level jobs like that we didn't think about acting and writing. And what did they do 2 years ago? They had a strike because they don't want AI in it. Because they don't want AI taking their writing jobs. My son has done several papers, and I keep telling him to stop doing this shit, but he uses Chat GPT to do it. And he's like, Dad, if I know how to use it, why the fuck I can't use it? You know what I'm saying? He said, it's not like I'm not reading the work behind it, but it's just like if I went to an encyclopedia and combined all this knowledge together myself. So he just lets the AI write the shit, then he rewords it to make a few mistakes here and there to sound more humanistic. But I'm telling y'all, man, I know, Kofi, you heard me talk about Cyrus A. Parsons. He's been doing AI. He's been warning us about AI technology and the coming of age for over 20 years. He actually owned a group called AI Organization. But I'm not saying this shit to cause fear, but yo, it's up. It is up, yo. That's it.
All right, thank you, Krabs. I think Plant Style left. Um, I don't know where Rep went. I had to go somewhere. I'm sorry, y'all. I messed up the whole flow of the conversation. Uh,
Nah, you good, you good. The dad going we was talking, everybody got their stuff off, man, talking about STEM. So I don't think it was bad. I think it was great.
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
because I just, a lot of people don't really know what STEM is. So that's why. And then Napa, he was here the other day and he was talking about STEM. So I was like, you know what? We'll just do a panel on STEM. And that way people can understand what it is. And it's more than just the technology portion of it. Of course, you have the science, the engineering, and the math. Um, but in this day and age, it seems like we're more focused on the technology portion. But all that stuff is intertwined with the technology, anyways. You gotta, I mean, you probably don't have to know like all these mathematical equations, but you're going to use some math, you're going to use some engineering, you're going to use some science for the technology. So it makes sense that they group them all together. But what Krabs was saying, as far as like the jobs and stuff and the writers, I see that there's people that are writing books right now using AI. And that's how they're writing their books. They're using AI to generate their books and they're selling them and they're doing very well. When you go into the grocery stores, you don't see cashiers behind the registers anymore. Maybe make one or two. The rest of it's all self checkout.
Hey, Unity. But
Hmm.
I want to say this: when they talk about STEM on our end, we're talking about so much of the low level of STEM. STEM came about, really, the acronym came about in the late 80s, early 90s. That's when the acronym of STEM came out. I was in high school when STEM when I heard about STEM, my freshman year. I didn't qualify for STEM. You had to be an A student in certain, math, science, and stuff like that to qualify to get into STEM. STEM was a program at when it first and came down in my little town. It was a program where you had to have the grades to get into STEM. They only wanted the exceptional students, and that's what our government has been great at doing for years. So they'll find the brightest students of any school and offer them their, a scholarship to their college or whatever. And it's within those colleges and halls of academia like Yale, all these Ivy League colleges where a normal nerd can go meet a guy who don't give a fuck about it, but just want power and money and just do this thing. And they meet in a fraternity or whatever. And so STEM, because of STEM, it now is a thing where the technology, like say like you know how we get chihuahuas now? Chihuahuas was never a real dog. They spliced that motherfucker like in the 1800s. So STEM is something only the I would say back in the 17s and 16s, 1500s going backwards were only academia learned by the occultists and people who attended these Ivy League universities or were able to learn from scientists or engineers who had had access to certain knowledge. And if you, it's I'm trying to think of the name of them. It's the Science Academia, Academia of Science. It's damn near a cult. It is because they are the ones who hold the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. They've been holding it ever since these two dudes translated it so long ago. John Rusick and I believe his name is another guy, Ostrad, is a German guy, and it's a British and a German guy. They both, and that's where you have modern science come from. The technology of alchemy, all of these things from way back when Romans got it. Everybody had their hands on this thing, but STEM is now something where you can go into that realm, and they're really looking for the brightest and the best of people who are already getting these grades in school. Now, if you have a passion for it and you're willing to learn it, yeah, that's cool too. But STEM usually is like an acceptance program in which you either already have to have the grades or you have to have a pursuit in that passion and you are showing promise in that career field.
And that's what I had asked earlier. When did that acronym come? And you just said it in the 1980s. Because I was like, I never heard them say STEM. It just popped up out of nowhere. Now it's STEM. So that's where it came from. Okay.
Right.
And Hey,
So,
Grand
and this is another
Verbalizer.
fascinating. This is
How
another
you doing,
fascinating
sis?
thing
Grand Rising,
about
brother.
melanated people. So,
So,
supposedly, in the science community and within, I would say, in that academia, melanated people are able to process just like AI, but they're able to process information faster. So we're able to process information faster due to the melanin that we have. Now, all these things that you hear, all these conspiracy theories or people who talk about melanin and it being a conductor and all, it is very true on a scientific level. They have already proven this back in the 1300s. And so we process information a lot faster, whether you're sleeping, whether you're awake, no matter what. That's what they call like twitch muscles. We have a very fast twitch speed. So if danger or anything happens, we'll twitch faster, we'll move faster. Everything in our body is like conducted by electricity as a human being, period. But ours are on a higher vibration frequency due to the amount of melanin in our skin. And that
they say
in which
the more
I have
melanin you
in it.
have, the more civilized you are. The more you're able to do everything that you're talking about, Jay. The more melanin we have. I mean, I like what you're saying.
Yeah, for
My
sure, because it's
apologies.
on a science. It's a proven fact on a scientific level once you study STEM. If you go into the science aspect of it, melanin is one of the things. I was going to become a registered nurse at one time. I even found a way to cure diabetes when I was in nursing school. Before I even got in fucking nursing school, when I took like physiology, anatomy and physiology, when I got to the second level of it, and I understood what the hell damn diabetes was and how melanated people are more susceptible to it. And I was like, damn, why they just don't give us some shit to cure it that way?
You,
Well, they gonna
you
want
ever
to
heard
make
of
money off of your ass.
Dr. Layla Africa, Jay? I think I have.
Uh, I think I have, but I don't know for sure.
He says the most important thing to study in science is melanin. I mean that it does make a difference when you know about melanin. Something that they really don't teach us in the learning institutions here in America.
But I would say this, Grand Verbalizer, it's not just melanin. So once you know what melanin is, it's not too much more you can go in depth and learn. But what you can learn is the in depth of the human anatomy. So once you
You
learn
know my
how
point,
melanin.
right? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, I got you. That's what I'm saying. You saying the same thing, but that's exactly what they already did so many thousands of years ago. And that's why, when they're saying like the acronyms, like when Unity asked, STEM and when did it come around and stuff like this, it wasn't really mass introduced to our community until like the late 80s, early 90s, from what I know is in high school. You know what I'm saying? And
I
then
mean,
on top of that,
right.
anything that we have done it without really a lot of academia teaching. Most of our inventors who invented these products, they went to academia, but most of them had already had these inventions and things and
Yeah.
prototypes already surmised before they even went to school.
I mean, that's my point. I mean, once upon a time, I didn't know nothing about melanin, and I believe a lot of black people don't know nothing about melanin. And when I found out about melanin, well, then I stopped following what they said, what modern science said, and that made the whole difference in the world, not only for me but for my children too. You know,
Now,
black
now,
seed
now,
oil
Grand Verbalizer,
cured my
now,
son's.
now
Let me finish
GB.
real quick. Let me finish. I said black seed oil, for example, cured my son of asthma. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, what you're saying is right. Once they told you and you figured out it was a lie, you cut them off. But I wouldn't say cut them
Period.
off so fast. I wouldn't say cut them
Well,
off
we're
so
different.
fast because
That's
no,
what
no, no, no.
Mama
Only
said.
reason, only,
Go
only
ahead.
reason, only reason, only reason. You see what I'm saying? Only reason I'm saying this, I know we're different. Only reason I'm saying this to make you a more effective lieutenant in general
Thank
in the
you.
army.
Mama
You know what I'm
told me.
saying? Because
Mama told me
because
not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's what Mama told me before she passed.
so let me finish
So
let
I'm
me
with
finish this, man. Let me get this. So when you say, like just kind of like do away with it, I understand you totally. I was the same way years ago. But what I also learned is once I started learning a little bit of what they was already researching, because you have to know your enemy. I went back and read the Sun Tzu, Art of War, when I was in the military. I was like, hey, like everybody reading, I'm gonna read this shit. So you got to know thy enemy. And so what they have been researching about melanin has been everything to destroy the melanin. So once you know what they're targeting, the chromosomes, they targeting DNA, the plastics that they starting to find in people's brains and shit, the plastic that they feeding, the garbage that they're feeding the animals and shit. They know that with doing that, it breaks down the melanin in your body. It breaks down your
And me
ability to
knowing that,
conduct energy. It breaks
and me
down your
knowing that,
ability to conduct.
right?
Well, let him finish, please, Grand Verbalizer.
I am.
It breaks down your ability to conduct electricity because plastic is not a conductor of electricity. It's an absorber of electricity. So the more plastic or the more nanoparticles of plastic you have in your body, the more addicted to a certain substance you'll become, the more like a zombie you'll become in certain ways. And you'll probably think it's not non-noticeable, but it will become noticeable because the amount of plastic you have in your body is not able to get out of your system. It stays there. It doesn't cause no harm, no foul, but what it does
Right.
is it stops a lot of receptors from connecting to other hormones that the thyroid gland sends out. And
And when I
once
found
that
that
gets
out,
off balance, huh?
I said, and once I found that out was why I cut off Western medicine, Western diet, GMOs, because I can't rationalize that plastic and that things that are detrimental to our existence is why I cut it off. Okay, I understand where you're
Oh
coming
yeah.
from, but at the
Oh yeah.
same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
if when
I'm
we
with
know
you
better, we do
110%.
better.
Hey, look, remember we was on the panel one day and I told you I just found out they were feeding these pigs plastic and I was eating plastic and I just had that damn bacon sandwich, man, and I said I
Right.
finished eating that damn sandwich. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, I'm with you 110%, man. And the world is crazy, but learning STEM and taking up science and it's just breaking it down. Just fuck the acronym of it. It's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's some of the few subjects that a lot of melanated people feel like, you know what? I ain't gonna use that shit that much no more. You know why? Because they already use it. And most of them, we so arrogant in the fact that we can't be taught more until we actually need it. That's when we really want to learn more. I'm like, I was when I started this job here and became, a quality engineer inspector, inspecting other engineers' work. I was like, well, shit, I got to get up on my game. I did it for 20 years in the military as to some degree, but not to the degree where, I'm inspecting some shit that's going on a spacecraft or going to the bottom of the ocean or firing out a missile or firing out a machine gun or anything. So, you definitely had to get on your shit. And, I had to learn a little bit more math, had to learn how to work a little bit of spreadsheet, Excel, had to learn SAP. I had to learn all these different systems that Rep and all these other people talk about to really kind of,
Right.
make myself versatile to be able to, work there and be a part of it
You ever
and learn.
you ever read Richard King, Jay?
No, I haven't, sir.
Richard King has a book called Melanin, The Keys to Freedom. I emphasize the keys to freedom. I advise you to check that book out, brother. That's all I'm saying.
So, what do you
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Where
about
do you live at,
STEM,
Jay?
Grand
Where do
Verbalizer?
you live at?
What do
Right.
you? Well, wait a
Jay,
minute.
what state you in?
Uh,
I'm in Connecticut.
Do y'all have black-owned bookstores in Connecticut? I'm just asking.
Uh, I'm probably sure, but what I double down on before even that happens, I can tell you here in this state, education is like the number one thing. all the way from up
Right.
to being a kid to you going to high school. By the time you get out of high school, you're certified as a cook, electrician, welder, uh,
Right.
uh, damn near anything you want to. But yeah, go ahead.
No, that was all I wanted to say, brother.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Grand Verbalizer, are you saying that you don't like STEM, or what are your thoughts on STEM?
My thoughts. Here's my thoughts. Anything that's detrimental to our mindset, to our health, to the way we see ourselves, I'm against it. I'm against it. Does that make sense?
So, are you? I don't want to imply what you're saying, but are you saying that STEM is detrimental to us?
I am. That's exactly what I'm saying.
And why do you say that?
Because it's from a European worldview. It's what they say will help us.
Okay, so I'll
And we
have
know
to
that they
disagree
lie.
with you on that, just
No, you didn't
because
even hear
of
me out.
one. Well, I mean, you said it's from a European worldview, but I'd have to
And I
disagree with
wasn't
you
done
on that.
talking. All you
Okay, go
heard was
ahead.
European worldview
Go
and
ahead.
interrupted.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead and disagree. What were you going to say?
I'll remember my thought. You continue with yours.
No, I'm good, Unity. I'm not going to play with you. What were you going to say?
Okay, what I was gonna say is, um, us, our people, we created all of this shit. So, and another thing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with, which I was talking about earlier, Q Butter, who is a melanated man just like me and you, that has created a school using his last paycheck for Black students to learn science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So I don't understand why you think it's detrimental, because he's not teaching it from a European standpoint.
That's my point. So if he's not teaching it from a European standpoint, I'm with it because we did create it and we don't have no reason to lie to people. But as far as the European worldview, I'm against that, like I said in the beginning,
Okay, so then you're not against STEM, but only against it if it's taught from a European standpoint.
Hey, Unity.
basically.
You
Absolutely
know
right.
Okay.
who? Hey, Unity. You gotta understand. You know who Grand Verbalizer remind me of? Sharif, or what is it? Is it Minister Society?
I don't want to
Oh,
hear that
See,
shit right now, Sharif.
he know already. See, he know already. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Listen,
He like one of the brothers. He's like he ready to do something on the front line. Like I don't give a fuck. Fuck the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I feel him. And see, I can identify with it because when I was that way, I know exactly.
oh,
That's
I'm
what I
sorry,
told
y'all.
TBN. I told TBN the same thing about GB a while back. I said, man, yo, he just me in the flesh, man. You know, because I used to cut motherfuckers' heads off if you want about being melanated or being a black person and treating black people with respect. Period. You know, I would. It was rough, but over the years I've learned, you know, and that's what I wanted to say to you, GV. Science and the thing what Unity was saying, and now she's probably clear on it, and I'm clear on it as well. You know, it did come from us. You know, masonry, and I remember we was on the panel, and I remember you were saying Atlantis came first, and that's exactly what the science and academia of today, and since then they discovered them has been based upon the alchemy, the science of it. The Moors, we had that for millions of years, man. The timeline is fucked up. I don't go on a whole rant about, my belief and what I know about us as melanated people. But, let me just say to you, man, I feel you and I understand 110%. But even when, a lot of times on this panel and other panels, when we talk about history, a lot of people only stop about 200,000, 500,000 years ago. They don't go back millions of years. You know what I'm saying? Or even in the universe standard, a billion years ain't shit. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So, and just for Masonic purposes. And this is why I love Masonry. This is why I love Prince Hall because Masonry is what STEM is. STEM ain't taught in our communities no more because masonry ain't taught in our communities no more. The need and the drive for a lot of people that I see in our communities, that they have demonized a lot of things that we once took pride in. And that was one of them. Even in Rosewood, you remember in Ving Rhames,
Right.
and stuff like that. So Rosewood is like probably one of the most prominent movies that I can say that it shows just a smidget of how masonry was conducted back then, because a lot of them brothers couldn't read or write, and but they knew hand different things to do, to identify themselves.
Symbolism.
So, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, it's a big thing, man. And I'm with you 110%, man. Just know that. But, like I said, that sometimes, man, I just want you to understand that, the history and knowledge you're talking about, it goes so far back that, when you scratch the surface, I'll be like, man, I wish you go a little further
Uh,
back. You know what I mean?
right.
Because it
That
go
part.
because what you're touching on, everything happened in such a short span of time. You only got what, like the last 20, not even 5,000, 10,000 years, in which everything happened. So, but go ahead, Uni. I ain't mean to jump off subject or topic.
Oh no, you're good. Go ahead, Rashid. We're talking about STEM. Welcome to the panel.
No, you take it back, brother. I'm just coming on the panel. Let me get familiar.
Well, you raised your hand. That's why I put you on the list. Go ahead, Krabs.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, I had a question for Grand. Because I want to know. I guess anybody can answer this because it's science, technology, engineering, and math. It's like, what is the European perspective on those four things? I can get if you were saying history. I can get that. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, how do you put a European spin on mathematics? You know what I'm saying? That's what I was just gonna ask.
This is how.
Okay.
Um,
Wait a
if
minute. You weren't
schools
next.
were
I thought
taught,
you left. Wait 1 second.
it's just I'm gonna just
Um,
answer and then leave.
I understand that you're going to answer and leave, but you just said you had to go back to work, and I didn't even know you were up here. And Pyramid raised his hand.
It's cool, Lord. He can go ahead. Let him go. Let him go.
Okay, go ahead, Grand Verbalizer.
When they say they discovered mathematics, is how I put a European interpretation on it, craft. It's that simple.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Pyramid.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying everybody. I'm at work too, but I'm loving the conversation. And I can see it from both perspectives. The brother in number three, Grand Verbalize, and number five. I can tell y'all very intelligent. And I struggle with a lot of where he coming from, cause I will say this: his energy is needed. Number three, it really is, and number five, all of ours. But somebody that helped me look at it from a perspective of how they twisted a lot of what we brought to the table and making us deny it by misusage of it is Bobby Hemming. And one way it helped me from hearing him speak on things like this is, he kind of puts it in the perspective that speaking on like the Moors, for instance, they had to give our information. Like we were so advanced, we knew we were going to go into a slumber or sleep or whatever. And we had to get his information to them. You get what I'm saying? Because we dealing with a beast, y'all. We know that. They're a beast, period. And one thing that helped me was he said, imagine if we didn't give them this. How
Hmm,
barbaric they would be.
that's right.
Imagine them without what we gave. Because somebody asked him one
Without the
time, well, why
Bible.
would we do that? Because we knew it's prophesied we was gonna go into slumber. I ain't on no biblical shit, none of that. But we knew. And imagine him today without any of this stuff that we
Okay,
gave. You know what I'm saying? They even be much worse. I'm done.
much worse. That's right, brother.
Okay,
Hey,
so Pyramid, what are your thoughts on
yeah.
STEM?
I mean,
JFFF, you can go next. I'm sorry.
I really just kind of glanced at it and was reading it when you had the big picture up. You know, I'm with what the brother said, man. I know and I'm with you, Unity. I know we made all this and gave it to him. I know we did. So I mean, like I said, now they have the reins of the horse. They guiding the show. So you just gotta look at the information and extract what you need and disavow the lies they gonna tell. Cause again, we dealing with a beast. So you know he finna deceive you or at least attempt to, but it's our shit. You understand? So that's my perspective on the STEM thing. I'm with it though.
Okay. Go ahead, JFFF. My bad.
So, you know, I I usually don't speak when a lot of times, a lot of people start talking about evolution of where did white people come from and how like even that this relates to STEM and things of that nature because their timeline is off. When people say the Moors were considered just melanated people. They would call you a Moor if you was living in fucking China at that period in time. But the Moors' reign was so long and so long ago that they only stopped to a certain point. And the certain point is where they're battling right now in Jerusalem over, which is King Solomon's temple. Ever since you hear all the other religions and you piece them all together, when a certain different kind of being came to this planet, it shook up the landscape. What we knew, what we had, the Moors had, they took. They just took it from us. And just like the brother said, yeah, we knew this. It was written. It was written, and that's what happened. And so, but the technology and all the beautifulness of learning it, astronomy, mathematics, architecture, science, learning these things are detrimental, really, to a melanated person. And if you don't learn them, whichever one is in your wheelhouse, you will damn near go mad on this planet because that is the existence of what it is to be melanated and living the experience here. It's to have some kind of structure, some type of guidance that you can feel, that you can cling on to, that you know for sure that this is a fact. Once you keep researching and you keep finding out, okay, I know this. But it's not readily taught to the world. It's not readily taught to melanated people no more. A lot of people claim it's Illuminati and all this other stuff, but that's basically what it is. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to the simplest form.
Did anybody else have a hand up?
No. Thank you,
Yeah,
Harold.
yeah. What's good, Hero? Ain't see you come in. Oh well, you're not on town. But yeah, man. I think STEM is an excellent program. What's good, brother? And I just hope we don't miss out again because we put race, politics, or religion in front of learning something. That's all I'm saying. I used to have that same. That's why I hear what you're saying too, Cofield. But I used to do the same thing, man. Every time I got a fact, I had to calculate race in it. It's like, but now it's like I'm completely opposite now. I know you still do, Greg. When I'm given a fact, the first thing I do, I take out the race, I take out the religion, I take out the politics, and I just try to get down to what I'm being told. Like, fuck everybody's feelings about it. Fuck who told me. Fuck what they believe in. What did they tell me? And then once I understand what I'm being told, then I add those other three layers back because the world is confusing enough without keep putting filters in. You know what I mean? To almost like before you even get the understanding of of the information, you're already distorting it and diluting it by adding in race. You know what I'm saying? I know race is a part of this world. I know that shit. But you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be automatically calculated into every equation. Brother, I know you gotta have filters. I just told you I take them out and I put them back in. But can we receive the STEM program first? It's like just see how he put that filter on it before he even answered whether he like it or not. As long as it ain't got no European, like man, what the fuck that got to do with any fucking thing? Like, do you understand science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? Do you think that's good for our children to have these fucking things, man? It's like we always complaining about some shit and we don't even get the fucking answer out because it's the fucking white man. Why do we keep giving the white man so much fucking power? This is what I said about religion. Every time some shit go wrong, the devil did it. Nigga, what did you do? Did you sell that dope? Did you shoot the motherfucker in the head? Did you hold your child back from taking a STEM course or learning another language because it was taught by a European? God damn it, man. I'm sorry. You got me
That's
hype on
okay.
this mother.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from because uh that seems to be the problem. So I started the panel and I said that I wasn't going to allow anybody to come in here and take it away from STEM. So if you notice, I keep referring back to STEM.
Yeah.
um but what happens is you have conversations like these about different things. Like yesterday it was about DEI and it turned into a whole thing about our history, as it always does, which there's nothing wrong with talking about our history. I do that a lot. Um, and then as far as STEM, of course, it's being brought back to history again. But take all of the race and everything out of it, the politics, whatever religion, and just focus on STEM. And you don't even have to just focus on it as an acronym. Focus on it individually if you would like to. That's all I'm
So
saying.
at Unity, so they do STEM, and even in college, in a lot of HBCUs, I found out they do STEM because my daughter goes to Fayetteville State, and they do STEM down there. A lot of the students, they actually do participate in STEM. I would say, from just talking to her, is a lot of more women in like the STEM programs than it is, melanated men a lot of the times at some of those universities. Only because of the sheer number of women, I would say. But the now, even at my company now, when I first got there 6 years ago, when they was doing like they do co-op programs, they do STEM programs, and what a lot of companies do is they invest into the stem cell program. Not stem cell as far as stem cell research, as far as like your brain or cranial, but stem as far as the amount of people participating in that particular program. So for my company, they offer scholarships for high school students who are interested or going into mechanical engineering, aeronautical engineering, computer engineering, anything with that type of background or field, they're really pursuing. And so what they do, we have what a scholarship fund. So if you participate in STEM throughout high school, you get a free ride to damn near any one of the universities they choose for you to go to participate in it. So when I first got there, it was, predominantly white. But as of the last 3 years, I'm proud to see, man, it's a lot of black people in that joint, man. Um, I met quite a few kids, man, that's moving on, and they work up. Some of them work up in New Hampshire. A few of them went to Florida, and so it's been something real big. I don't know exactly. Probably I didn't ask them where they actually came from, what high school or what state they came from, but it's been a big thing. And a lot of companies, once I researched it, a lot of companies, whether you're in pharmaceutical, whether you in industrial, all those kind of engineering and technology backgrounds, they offer scholarships to students who are in stem cell programs, and they actively recruit people who are in stem cell programs in high school already. That's their number one goal right now. And that's been a big drive since I've seen it in the last 6 years, because we do more tours of our campus than anything, to high school students, people coming from universities, different stuff like that.
All right, thank you, JFFF. Go ahead, Pyramid.
I got something to say. It might not be popular, but fuck it, I'm gonna say it anyway. This my thing with it all. I'm all for the STEM. I'm all for us, you know, getting what it is we created and made. But my thing is this, you get what I'm saying? Just bouncing off a little bit what the brother just got through saying. It's good and it's bad that you see more blacks in there, because one thing I say is, why wouldn't they not get the best and the brightest? We are the best and the brightest. Our minds, if given the opportunity to advance and given the right environment, they're going to shine. You know, Dr. Amos Wilson wrote a whole book about how we have a step up on, you know, our ops in the world, whoever they may be, you know, due to the melanin content that we have. It's not just a hue that we possess. So I just feel like the two should go hand in hand. You should know the origin of these particular very necessary topics that this STEM holds and says. You understand? Because then you could connect the dots. And once these young minds go into these white universities, they come out with a better type of mindset to build, to produce for us. Instead of going out and getting these jobs at these companies that's gonna hire them and get them this money that they ain't gonna do nothing but focus on materialism and not building hospitals, not doing these things we get on here and complain about. They already had a mindset to say, hey, you understand? This is what is needed, and damn it, I'm gonna go do it. You understand? And I don't need the European acceptance or anything he's giving me, because I know the origin story. So I'm with both sides of it. It might not sound like that's what I'm saying, but I am. Cause I hear everybody on here, but you can't have one without the other. Not if you really want change. You must tell them where this shit come from. You must tell them how they're being lied and manipulated to a certain degree, but don't tell them not to get it. I've never told nobody not to go for a so-called higher education. But just like Dr. Amos Wilson put forth, critically think that. Go get a higher education to do what with? Because if you just going to get point. And I think that's what a lot of people go to school for. You understand? Like they say, empty house, full mind, empty house. I'm done.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else want to say anything? Nobody has their hands up. Go ahead, Hayru.
Yo, for sure. Peace, everybody. That's it. I'm glad I came through, and I'm glad you got that on the screen, because I'm not really I'm just now getting more familiar with the STEM program, and you got it really just inspired me to kind of tap in deeper into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I think that what would be great if, if the people that either homeschool, to people that homeschool, implement this type of stuff in their household, or if the kids is in school and they might not be in a program like this, science, technology, and this type of stuff should be learned and then taught in the household too. That's, to me, it's powerful, like on a private in home type level. You know what I mean? Like for real. Like I feel like that'll produce a lot of results, in my opinion. It got me thinking. That's put like that, but yeah, that's what's up though. I like this topic. I'm gonna listen though.
All right, thank you. Krabs, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay on subject, so I'll just hold back my thoughts on it. You know what I mean?
All right, go ahead, Napa.
Yeah, I see where the brothers coming from with Pyramid and GV. I understand where they coming from, putting our people first. And I think we should put our people first in all situations. But when you start studying math and science and all this stuff, it starts to break down these barriers of racism, of oppression, of genocide, and for all people. The more education that white people get about STEM and about history and about science, the better that they'll educate themselves and correct themselves when they're interacting with us. The same for the Latino, the Asian, the Arab. The more articulate they are, the more educated they are in these fields, the easier it is for everybody. So I don't agree with just like this whole isolation thing that y'all trying to do. We're just focusing on ourselves and not participating in the system, in the broader system. This app right here is made by Asians. We wouldn't even be able to hear each other's voices if an Asian ever came up with the idea of Bigo. So we're benefiting from an idea of an Asian right now. We're benefiting from African minerals in the Congo because of these devices that we have right now. And then you got these engineers in Asia, in America, from all walks of life that are contributing and benefiting and building these models, these phones so that we can communicate. That's a benefit for everybody on this planet. So I don't agree with that whole overly righteous black shit. I think y'all get a little OD with it. I think I think y'all overdosing it. Y'all overdoing it. And y'all sound the same all the time, every single day. I see GB on here, and we have a topic, and it's about he always got to go back to the white man. And I mean, ain't too many of us on here got biracial children. From my knowledge, the brother got biracial children. So I don't understand this like fixation on white people when you got biracial babies. You feel me? So it's like, let's chill with that shit. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Napa. Go ahead, Pyramid.
Now, you know I gotta call you out because you said my name. Look, bro, you know I ain't coming up off of where I'm at, but I'm gonna correct you with what you just said, bro. You did what I'm saying, man. I ain't did I once say not to fuck with the STEM shit? You see what I'm saying? I think you got a fixation in your mind about what you think I'm saying, man. You the one need to come up out of it, bro, man. I mean, I respect your mind, but you don't seem to respect mine because you keep hollering about you. If you can't see the connection in what I'm saying, bro, then you never will. You never will. You get what I'm saying? Like I always done respected you. I always say, man, your voice is important, but so is mine, man, and so are these other people. You sitting around here saying need to come up off of it. You just said something that I totally disagree with. You talking about when these white folks or whoever they is educate themselves more about this STEM shit, they gonna open up to us. That's bullshit, man, and you know it. Come on, man. You understand, man? We smart, they smart. I mean, so you think it's not beneficial for black kids to go to school and know what Imhotep contributed to mathematics, a brother? You understand, man? I hear you with all that holding hands with everybody, you know. I mean, hey, if it happens, it happens. But all us ain't that optimistic. So if I'm telling you like this, it seems to me when I look out in the world, all these other groups want to win. That's how I look at race, at like a real race. They want to win. So what's wrong with us preparing and wanting to do the same thing? Why having an open hand if it's giving back? But if it ain't, it still need to be a preparation for hell if we lose. So why you can't open your mind up to look at it like that instead of always saying we some pro blacks, righteous, whatever, man. Damn right on that. If you want me to say, I love black people, I do. You get what I'm saying? And my love goes to my people first and foremost. Then it filters out to everybody else. And that's with all respect to you, good brother. Yep.
All right, thank you. Go ahead. I think it's Crabs. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead, Crabs.
Yeah. My whole point was Unity wanted to talk about the STEM program. It's like I don't understand why race even had to be brought into it, but I get it. And you see, this is what I say about when we add race to everything. The conversation we had about DEI yesterday, almost everybody I heard speak on it was kind of mixing DEI with affirmative action. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of just saying, hey man, if you have a learning disability, if you have anxiety, you should not have this job just because DEI says you have to have it, or they got to reach this quota. I'm sorry, I don't want a motherfucker who gonna wig out landing my airplane. But we got to keep putting, you know what I'm saying? We got to keep putting the race into it first instead of like listening. Okay, so what is this person saying? That's my whole point. Science, technology, engineering, and math. Not one time since my daughter came home from this program has she said anything about the race or the gender of the people that she was learning with. She just was excited about putting her hands on shit and picking things up and moving them instead of just writing shit down in a book all the time. She was excited as hell. And you know who gonna come off of it? The next generation, because they about sick of our old asses. They about fucking sick of us. They're not worried about this race shit as much as we are. We the ones doing this shit. We always talking about change, but how the fuck are we gonna change something if we keep giving the fucking hate back out that we were once given? You feel me? Ain't nobody saying nothing about singing Kumbaya and standing in a motherfucking circle. But it's just like when your girl or your wife go through your fucking phone. The shit you looking for is gonna be the shit you gonna find. And you can be very upset with it. So that's part of my point. We constantly go in looking for the negative first instead of what are the positive results. You know what I'm saying? But I get it, man. The world is so fucked up. Some people are hurt and they can't let the shit go. But hurt people just hurt other people, man. That's it.
All right, thank you, Krabs. Next was go ahead, Napa.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go back to the
Hey,
past,
Lady
because
Shane.
history will classify as under science, right? I think history can still be classified as science because you got to, that's biology, that's genetics. History is science. So if we do have to go back in time to give reverence to the past, I think, yeah, let's talk about Imhotep, but let's also talk about Sanskrit. Let's also talk about algebra, which also come. These all come from different cultures, and that this is the human race that's contributing to these fields. So I think you can tie it all in together and you can give reverence to the past and your respective if you're African, if you're black, you're indigenous, you're Asian, whatever. It's not a kumbaya thing. I guess you can call it a kumbaya thing. I don't live in a world where I see a lot of racism. I've dealt with more shit from my brothers than I dealt with white people. Maybe y'all live in the South. I don't know where y'all live or where you live, Pyramid. I'm just talking to you. But I don't know where y'all live, but where I live, it's like racism is not really a big deal like that. There's other things that people are concerned about, and everybody's in poverty. You see white homeless people, Asian homeless people, and all kind of shit. And I think that when people prioritize STEM and education and mathematics and all that, it's going to benefit everybody. So that you don't have to worry about seeing homeless people and people starving and people killing each other and all that shit. It's not no kumbaya shit. It's just basic common sense. It's basic human nature. And I think that should be the goal for everybody. Your ancestors would think the same. Your ancestors wouldn't be so. I think a lot of us are traumatized by what happened recently in the past 400 years, but our ancestors wouldn't be as bitter as we are. I highly doubt it. They would be just as universal, just as not progressive, but just as universal as brothers. I'm not saying I'm the most open-minded person, but I think they would sound more like me than they would sound like y'all niggas that's fixated on these white people. You feel me? I'm sorry, and I respect you, but you got to be open to criticism. I'm open to criticism, but y'all take this as disrespect when I'm coming at you. Like, it's not disrespect. It's just like, yo, let's open up the doors because Pyramid, I know you for like 2 years now. It's just the same tone. It's the same conversation. And I've yet to hear you change or grow in any level as far as this information goes. So this is where STEM comes in, and it can open up your mind to new possibilities, new aspects, new angles at this shit. You feel me? So yeah, I'm done.
All right, thank you, Napa. Go ahead, Heru.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. Just to add on to the conversation, you got science, technology, engineering.